Good morning, everyone. I appreciate you being here with me today. And the first thing I need to do is make sure my signal is good. I, I'm thinking what's arising right now is this journey to get to this place in the middle of this field. And today, if you're just joining for the first time, these shows there's very little structure and planning. There's some things that I bring in. This is about spaciousness and more specifically, inner spaciousness. So with that, we're going to see what arises. I want to get you to pause and breathe right now. Let's just co-create and set the stage for this morning. It's 10 a.m. It's September the 5th. It's Sunday, and this is episode number 10. I do have an exciting announcement for you as we get later in the show. I'm going to talk to you about the location. I do want to say, let me see if I can check your chat just to make sure I'm good. All is clear. We're going to set that intention right now. I have a beautiful thing to share with you today. Beautiful. You're absolutely going to love it. But what I want to do before we get into the show, if anything happens during the course of the show, from a technology standpoint, video skips, sound skips, I want you to use that as an opportunity to pause and be alert in terms of just observe, become the observer of what's happening. And instead of, I can't, like going into the judgmental mind, just allow the moment to unfold, create spaciousness. And we're going to have that theme throughout the show. And let's do it right now. I want to invite you, if you can, as long as you're not driving, to just simply pause and breathe. And the only thing that I ask, rather than to get into too much, just to breathe in through your nose. As deep as you can. Let your belly expand on the bottom. Pause at the top. You can pause for a second. You can pause for 5 or 6 seconds. And then exhale through your mouth. Again. Just pay attention to that breath. And the pause, the top of the breath, the bottom of the breath, it's just this space, just this moment of perhaps void, just breath. Pause. Give yourself the gift of this moment. Give yourself the gift of this time, this very moment. As thoughts will come in and out of your mind during this show, pause and breathe. And just bring yourself back into this moment. This is a gift for you. Your days, your hours, your minutes are constantly filled with what you have to do. Perhaps it's your own thinking. Perhaps it's other people's expectations. And very seldom are we aware of the space, spaciousness. And typically in our day-to-day lives, we're constricted with time, the illusion of time. We use time to start shows on time, and even here there's constriction and expansion. And we're not saying it's right or wrong. We're basically saying we're aware of these things. We're aware of I'm aware of my to-do list. But this is about inviting you into the awareness of just openness, spaciousness. Your your body has atoms. Your body's made up of atoms. And according to research, you have 7 octillion atoms. I can't even imagine what that number even is. It's a very high number. 7 octillion atoms. And the atoms are made up of what? Electrons and protons. According to research, by some scale, the atom is like, in proportionately, if you were to increase the size of the atom, it's the equivalent of having a peanut shell in the middle of a baseball stadium. Would be the size of the atom in the middle, the nucleus of the electron circling it. So the atom would be the peanut shell and the electron would be the baseball stadium. And the reason why I'm sharing that, you may say, where is this going? There's a lot of space. There's empty space. We don't think about the empty space. We think about what's in it consistently. We think about filling it up. And even as I'm in this field, and I hope to be able to pan around for you, to share with you the openness. And when I'm here, I trust you'll feel it, you just see the emptiness of the space. And according to the one research that I share is like, even looking at nature, open space, the awareness of that open space is like an opening. You don't feel constricted, you feel, and you don't have to think about it. Something happens when you step into an open space and you just allow, you just like. So I'm gonna just do this while I can here, just for a moment. Came prepared because today it's hot, so I brought the umbrella here to spur me along so we can keep the technology cool and stay plugged in. Let me just grab some of your shares. If you're listening to this on the podcast playback, again, I want to invite these pauses for you to allow the void of thinking, just create a vacuum for you to just be in the moment. Think about, like, if we think about the thinking, we don't have to think about the thinking. Just it consistently comes in 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. And the power of this show is to notice the space. And why do we want to do that? Why are we doing this, Austin? Why? I can share my experience. It's not your experience. My experience is, when I give myself the gift, the awareness to be open, I'm connecting to the deepest part of myself. And when I connect to the deepest part of myself, when I'm in the vacuum, in the void, then when I step back out in, what comes out of that place is pure. It comes from a deeper, pure place. And then the fruit of that is everybody I touch, whatever I touch, becomes enhanced, augmented, better, um, growth, growth, purpose, expansion of what's true, what's in alignment with you. But it only happens through the power of pure presence, being able to be present with yourself, void of a judgmental mind that wants to judge, label, profile everything. Judging, labels, profiles, out of control, because we are obsessed to know. And it's not that that's a bad thing. It's about the balancing of energy. It's about the yin and the yang. It's about moments of awakening, awareness. When we connect, you can say it's a spiritual journey. Let me grab some of your shares this morning and say good morning to you. I'm so glad you're here. Ivy, you're the first person I see on YouTube. Good morning. DJ, thank you so much for making this. This was a journey to get here. And again, I always talk about the beautiful surrender. It's the thought, the thinking, the pressure, the constriction, and then the beautiful surrender, the spaciousness. And then I allow the dance of life. I allow the space, right? My hand is you don't think about the space the hand is going through. You just think about the hand, but without the space, there's nothing to flow through. And this is about creating, observing external space, creating internal spaciousness, or rather being aware of internal spaciousness. A lot of us can go through life constricted, right? If you think about, I must, I have to, I gotta, thinking, right? It's just, it can be this constrictive place. And then you think about spaciousness and flow. And it's like the body, the nervous system exhales, becomes realigned, calibrates to a different resonance. Think about your resonance today, emotionally. Where are you? Check in with yourself. So good morning, Ivy. We are live, and I'm so grateful right now that we are live. And anything that happens, if you're got a bug on me, something crawling on my back, but that's okay. You know, something landed on me. I got some beautiful things to share with you today. Good signal so far. All good. I'm so glad. Loud and clear. Hey, Cheryl, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Beautiful space, wide open. And, if you have any questions today, I want to open this up for questions. I want to revisit the journey a little bit. I want to create some vacuum and some void for spaciousness for you. We're going to do that as well. And stillness. Think of inner stillness. It's like we go through life searching for these moments. But then there's these moments. There's this moment that's here. And there's beautiful things that are always happening in these moments. Observe awareness, pause and reflect. Good morning, Carrie. I'm glad you're here today. I trust you're in a beautiful space as well. Just enjoyed, so this is Mandy, just enjoyed doing this beautiful silence from people, breeze in the trees, and pure peace. I just want you to understand it's not as difficult as you're making it out to be. I love standing on a cliff over an ocean, feeling the vast, wide open freedom. It's that physical space of spaciousness that we can cultivate within. and create spaciousness for ourselves, because you know the most of the world is operating uh, just in constant thinking, right? And this being in the void or the vacuum is not something people typically seek. it, it's just we become aware of it, and if we become more aware of it while it's happening, we can augment it, we can extend it, and then we can connect to our heart in a deeper place, and we can be comfortable with the vacuum. We can be comfortable with not filling in the space. I love the clouds. There's a couple hawks overhead. Hey Sabrina, good morning, glad you're here today. It's nice and cool where you are. It is hot here, but we are glad to be here in this moment. And Michelle is saying flow and just be. And that's really what this is. It's about flowing. Can you flow in the moment? Can you be in this moment? Or are you judging? Are you already? It's not right or wrong. I'm just, what are you aware of right now? What are you aware of right now? Okay, DJ, I'm taking a moment to pause and breathe. Let go of all judgment. Suspend, rather suspend. Can you suspend? Because if you think about it, you, we know that your thoughts repeat. We know it. We know that you typically have the same thoughts. And it's only through creating a vacuum, a void, can you allow something new to arise up from a deeper place. It's the still small voice. But I've, in this journey of power and pure presence, I've felt bliss in simplicity. I felt pure bliss, tears, goosebumps. But my thought form could be telling me I have to get somewhere else. So I want to revisit this show. What what led to this show was really a couple simple concepts, and I'm going to share that with you here in a moment. I just want to acknowledge everyone this morning. Nilda, after the sound of the jet, it was perfect time to become more aware of that openness. Sadly to say, but most people are not aware of the rhythm of their breath. Pause. Breathe in. Love and light. Think of expansion, and let go of toxicity. Stress and anxiety constricts in the body. It can even store in the body. This is why you may say, well, I always hear people talking about breathing, but we need to start with the simple. We start with the simple, and then we expand. We allow spaciousness to happen. We are in the dance, but we also observe the dance. We can be in the dance. We can be in the construct of the mind. We can feel our mind telling us various things throughout the day. And we can also, through the power of pure presence, step out and think presence. Be in the moment and allow the moment to unfold before I start to cast judgment on the moment. And this is why you've heard it in research with teachers that there was a study from a while ago, or it was a research project. Some of you will know this, where the teacher thought the bad student was the A student and thought the A student was the bad student. And that judgment, that predisposition, changed the behavior of the students. The bad student started to do better. The A student started to do worse. So your judgment on this is why when you step into the day, we can go right back into that monkey mind. We're judging this, we're judging that, we're thinking. And it's only through the vacuum and the void can we can be free from judgment. We can allow life to unfold. We give it spaciousness to be what it ought to be, and then more, potentially more than we ever thought it could be. But if we come in with that same constriction and that same tight thinking, we're suffocating it. We want to create spaciousness. Is this making sense to you? And I want to open this up for questions today. Those of you that have journeyed along, let me share with you where this came from. I'm going to share something right now, so stay with me. This T.S. Eliot quote was one of the things that I resonated with. And I liken it to, we shall not cease from exploration. We shall not cease with thinking and filling up our space and getting more stuff and getting more achievement. We shall not cease from that. But in the end of all of our exploring, we shall arrive where we started, this very moment, and know the place for the first time. The call is to learn life as it's unfolding for us. That everything that's unfolding for you in your life right now has a purpose. It is not a dead end. But the thinking mind and the judgmental mind and the collective societal mind wants you to think it's a dead end. Label, check, that's what you are. But there's story after story where people have broken free from the labels and allowed themselves to come from a deeper, heart-centered place. It's 10:24. I am going to give you a little more history on Power Pure Presence. I am currently on site. It's called Dalton Farms. It's near Swedesboro, New Jersey, technically Logan Township. I had a beautiful experience just being in the moment. I showed up here yesterday and I'm waiting, not sure. I'm like, man, I would love to do the show from here. And I went, I'm waiting, I meet the guy, and they start getting on the walkie-talkies saying, I hear him say, Stitch, are you there? Stitch, are you there? And I'm here's what I'm doing. I'm stepping back, just allowing this to unfold. And in my mind, I'm like, just allow, just let it be. Not sure what's going to happen next. And sure enough, Keith Dalton, the owner, one of the owners of the establishment, comes out and he says, I tell him what I want to do. He's like, come on, jump in. He had this Jeep, and I'm hoping to share the video with you here. Drives me around the farm. We felt like I knew him forever. Had a great conversation, sharing with me his passion for this place, and just shared with me what the value of this is if they sold it, but they held on to it because of the meaning and significance that it has, dating back to 1790 in his family. And this whole thing unfolded, just being in the moment and allowing it to unfold. And here I am, while I wasn't confident streaming back by the sunflowers because the signal's light, but I am going to do my best to share something with you here momentarily as we learn more about Power of Pure Presence. If you're new, you're hearing some of this for the first time. If you've been here before, you've heard some of this before, but I welcome you again to step into it again. And we got some hashtags here: gratitude. Maybe as you find yourself in that vacuum void of thought and you're in this space with me, maybe appreciation or gratitude's rising up. Maybe you're feeling more grace rise up in the present moment. Maybe you heard a buzz. There's lots of bees and crawly, creepy things around here, but it's beautiful. It's just got this beautiful energy to it. And let's see. Sabrina, thanks for your share. Square breathing is my go-to when I feel the anxiety, feeling my heart beat, my lungs expanding and releasing. Belly expands. In through the nose, pause. And the reason why we do it this way is because I liken it to life. You may not be able to stop for 15 minutes and go meditate, but what you can usually do in most situations, you can step out. Hey, could you give me a moment? Go to the bathroom, take a walk around the office, take a walk outside. And within 30 seconds, 10, 20, 30 seconds, you can grab that pause and breath, and you make that a practice throughout your day. So you're consistently connecting to the present moment throughout the day, as opposed to feeling like you have to get to I got to go get it's more about cultivating it and being aware of those moments throughout the day. Let go and let God. And we know the breath is changing your physiology right now. You're changing right now. This is a transformational moment. Because what we cultivate today in this space will expand the moment the show is over. The moment you go into Monday, all you need to do is be aware. Be aware of your breath. Be aware of your surroundings, void of the judgment. Just be in the moment. I learned a couple things this week, which I'll talk more about this later. But there's certain languages that do not have past tense in their language. Certain languages do not have past tense. We have past tense. The Americans and many cultures, we are what? Worrying about the future, or we're regretting the past. If only, and here's the low-level disease, if only I could get there. If only I could go back there. And yet, this is what we have right now. And the beauty is, whatever seed I cultivate now, but first I allow the present moment to unfold. I allow the spaciousness. It's almost like this. Let me give you another great metaphor. It's almost like you're putting the clean canvas in front of you as an artiste. If you're really sophisticated, you say artiste. And then you put the clean canvas in front of you, and you just allow it, like, there it is. And then as you're present with it, you connect to something deeper, and then maybe you start to express. And you express something new. You express something maybe that you forgot about, something that you didn't connect to before, a new awakening, a new awareness. that comes through, and you get to experience life. What do we get to do? We get to live life more fully now. We get to live life more fully in the now moment. Spaciousness, liberation, expansion, creation. Gotta hydrate as well. Make sure you stay hydrated today. Okay, I want to share. I still need something. I want to share something else with you about Power Pure Presence. I want to invite you to share this with one person who's feeling constricted, stressed. Thank you, Mandy. I appreciate it. This is powerful for me. You need to know that this is something that has changed my life in ways I cannot fully describe yet. It's unfolding for me as it is for you. I want to acknowledge our sponsor of this show, our one and only sponsor, and that's Duchess DJ Love, gallivanting like a royal. She does a fantastic job of bringing travel into people's lives, traveling even at a high level on a budget. And she's working on a book. She's been to all 50 states, 10 U.S. countries, and I know she's got many more places she's going to be visiting. So I want to make sure you connect with her. And obviously, if you travel has a way of bringing us into the moment. It brings more joy in the experience as it happens. And this show is really a connection to that, to say, let's do that today, now. And then when the show is completed, you can go on and take this with you. You can pause and breathe. You can allow the moment to unfold. You can bring more joy into the experience of life. And you can avoid being like I was, hyper addicted to the future, thinking that the future was going to fix right now. But now can only get better right now, even with the seed of, I think Mandy referenced the mustard seed earlier. So please connect with DJ. You're gonna love her, and we're working on a way to bring her more into the show. We were gonna do it today, but connections, things like that. But this is exactly what it's supposed to be today. I got these lantern flies landing on me. You know those lantern things that came over from Asia? They're like all over. So one lands on my nose. We'll just say, hey, that came up in the present moment, and then I'll get rid of them. Good morning, LS. I'm glad you're here. And I want to give a shout out to everybody who's been a part of this show, from Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, and I have a very exciting announcement. I'm going to do that right now. As of next week, Power of Pure Presence is going to be on Roku as its own channel. September 11th, again, allowing things to unfold. September 11th, this show is going to have its own channel on Roku, and that's going to be our first broadcast. We are working on something special for that, so I want to make sure you come back next week, and we're going to have a whole new experience. Every experience is different and new, and I'm going to pause here in a moment because it's 10:35. Sabrina, thanks for being here. Glad you were here. Have a wonderful, beautiful day. I pray you take this with you. I'm going to grab more of your shares, but let's just take a moment and pause and breathe. Pause and breathe. We're just going to do that right now. And I just want you to observe the happening, observe the noises, void of judgment. Just become like an observer, just an observer. What do you see? What do you hear? Even what do you smell in your own environment? What's coming up in your own environment? I'm going to step away for a moment. Just take a moment. give yourself the gift of just pausing and breathing, because you're weak, the seasons are changing, you're going to get right into a different mode of thinking and doing, and it's important to pause and to cultivate the art of that pause and breathe. Let me check in with you. I have a surprise for you. I'm going to do this right now. So here we go. I'm going to share something with you right now. Let's just set the intention that this is going to keep going. Here we go. Let me just take this down for a moment. And just type in what's coming up for you right now. Like what's arising in the present moment for you? Is there any new distinctions? Is there how are you feeling? Do you feel spaciousness? Share what you're feeling right now. And if you are listening us on the podcast or the playback, just maybe you want to write that down. Like maybe there was a subtle distinction something very subtle that came up. Pay attention to those subtle cues. All right, let me share this with you. Little surprise. Today I'm here with Keith Dalton. Keith, first of all, I want to thank you for opening up your space, this incredible space. I got chills just standing here in the middle of this, what you've created, and I just want to grab a couple of minutes with you.
Sure, no problem.
Share some history, a little bit about yourself and where we are, what we're looking at, and maybe what spawned this whole thing.
Okay. Yeah. So you're looking at a 100-acre farm here, roughly 30 acres of sunflowers, about 1 million plants planted this year.
1 million?
Yep, 1 million sunflower seeds. They're planted in.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah, and so we don't do it by hand. We don't take and
Right.
my back would be
Right.
broke at my age, right? If we had to go ahead and plant everybody by hand,
Yeah.
we use a planter to go ahead and take and plant the seeds, and then we plant them over the course of 3 to 4 weeks, and then so that people can come out here and enjoy them. They're not for commercial production. We don't cut them and ship them to florists or anything like that. It's mainly it's for all of our customers that come in to be able to view the several varieties of sunflowers that we have here.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful, just looking around. What was your, like, bubble up inside to say, let's do this? Like, was there something that happened?
Well, it goes back till when I was a kid.
Uh-huh.
I grew up on this farm, had grandparents on property. My mom's side of the family, they had a house here. And so I spent a lot of time with my grandparents on property. And, as a kid getting, tied to the property, feeling a real pride in the property. And I think at about 9 years old, I asked my grandmother if she would give me the property. And she said, I love you dearly because you're my favorite grandson, but your two aunts would be upset if I did that. And so it really started then as far as me wanting to have the farm, for my own. And we weren't able to realize that until 2012. I started buying back property from some of the other family members, and then two sets of family members, and then the main farmhouse in 5.74 acres was purchased from another individual that had bought the house in that 5.74 acres from my father. Ours are gorgeous, pictures are great. It's great to come out with your kids and enjoy nature and
Family
be outside.
day. Yes.
We have a lot of people that just yesterday along the edges where there's shade, camping out, throwing out a blanket. Same thing down at the beach.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
great.
we've got a beach on property.
That's right.
We've got a lake on property.
Yeah.
So
I really thank you,
thanks
man,
a lot.
for giving me the time. I really
appreciate you coming out.
Yep.
And have a good day.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll check out the lake later.
Perfect. I'll be around.
Okay. Absolutely, just an incredible experience. I will get the full interview because the interview's longer. This farm, he traced it back to the 1600s, but officially his family, 1790, he traced it back to, and doing an incredible job just keeping the integrity of it. You heard that, and just absolutely amazing. And it was all just showing up here and allowing the moment to unfold and being able to share that with you. I'm really glad that it worked out because I was I was thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to pull this together? Because the reception was so weak, and I wanted to do the broadcast there. But here's a great gift for you today, another opportunity to just be in the moment as seasons cycle out. And Keith went on to talk to me about how the sunflowers, the center starts to bubble up, and as they age, and they plant them in different waves, so they always have them growing, and they'll go till next few weeks, maybe even into October if it stays warm. And it was just a blessing, right? Living in the moment, allowing the moment to unfold. So with the bonus footage, if you're listening on Apple TV, Amazon, or whatever podcast, look me up on social media, Austin J. Haynes, Power of Pure Presence, and I will get that bonus footage. It'll be posted on the YouTube channel. I'm going to go grab some more footage after this so you can see this place. It's a 100-acre farm here, right in southern New Jersey. It's worth the trip. It's just a unique thing. It's not overly commercialized. It's beautiful. So I'm just honored to be able to share that with you. Back to the Power of Pure Presence, since this is episode number 10, and next week we're going to have episode number 11, where we're officially going to be on Roku, my own channel, Power of Pure Presence, because this message to the world is so needed. in my opinion, that we can be free now. We can live life fully now. We need to step away from the constant messages that the world is messed up, you're messed up, I'm messed up, our situation is messed up. Like Benjamin Franklin said, the golden age was never the present age. The golden age was never the present age, which means as humans, we live in a low level disease that things are effed up. And that low level disease keeps us striving and wanting and susceptible to marketing. And the power of pure presence is all about creating the vacuum in life and being able to come from a deeper place when we step back into life, to not be caught into the superficialities that are constantly in play. You're rooted, you're grounded, and you can stay in alignment with who you are. The second part of Power of Pure Presence that was based on this old story of, legend has it that they had this treasure, the most valuable treasure. And they said, where should we hide this most valuable treasure? And they started to come up with all these places where they could hide this valuable treasure. And they came back to, well, wherever we hide it, people are going to try to find it. The greed of man will try to find it. So they said, well, let's just put it out in plain sight. We'll hide it in plain sight where its value is imperceptible. And that's the present moment. It's in plain sight. It's happening right now for you. It's happening for me. And it is the most valuable. I say thing, but it's not a thing. And I say, like I was going to say this the other day when we were on the river, but the tides come in and they advance. I don't get upset when the tide is in, and I don't get upset when the tide rides out. I simply am aware of. And as your thoughts pour in and your mind kicks up and your body starts to constrict, it's like the tide's coming in. But eventually it's going to recede. And if you can be more intentional about it, maybe you can, just maybe, you can be a little more aware. Just maybe you can embrace the moments as they come up, even the tough moments. And you can let life in and live life more fully now. If I don't let the tough moments in, I don't, how am I going to let the just all good moments in? I do believe we can live in a state of bliss most of the time. I do believe that. But we still need to be aware of, accept, embrace the opposite side. Otherwise, it wouldn't make up life. Otherwise, we're living in an illusion or some kind of a fantasy. So we got 10 minutes left in the show. I want to be able to field any questions or anything that's coming up for you. I'm going to grab your shares right now. And you may just want to share what's coming up for you. And it may have nothing to do with what I said. That's what's beautiful. Because if you stepped into this space, something could arise up in you. And if you just observe that. The sunflowers were just, magical. I will have the whole interview for you, I promise. And I'm going to grab some more video footage too. So I'll put it together in a montage and I'll share it. I know, it just speaks such volumes. Yeah, we are not messed up. You are not messed up. Set yourself free now. Stop telling yourself you're messed up. Stop telling yourself your situation's messed up. Okay, you may be in an unpleasant situation. Embrace it. And then take the mustard seed of intention. Embrace it. Presence, no judgment, clean canvas. Take the mustard seed, the color, and then start to be intentional about where you want to go. You're not a victim. The power of pure presence is liberating. It's freeing. I am grounded. I am enough. I am grateful. Thank you, Mandy, for these shares. I love this present moment. I hear the bird chirping in the background. Yes, I hear the cars too. Yes, I hear the airplanes passing over. Yes, I hear those things. But then I'm also aware of something. I can hear nature reverberate in the background while that's all happening. There's a similar story in the UK surrounding the greatest train robbery ever, right? And I think Mandy's referring to hiding the treasures in plain sight, hiding the most valuable thing in plain sight, and it's the present moment. And Ilda's saying, fall in love with life, your life. That means falling in, live this moment as if you've chosen it. Live this moment as if you've chosen it. What if life, your life, was just a big mirror reflecting back to you everything that's happening? And that's why I say there's no seed of thought, of emotion. If we become aware, we can be aware of that beauty, that bliss, that our gifts, our talents, our treasures, and we can start to cultivate that, come from a deeper rooted place. And what if everything in your life is just a mere reflection back? The most valuable dimension we can find ourselves at. Thank you, Anilda. Seek inner peace, inner space, where God energy resides and replenishes. We talked about the atoms in the body, that the electrons circle the atom, and if we blew it up to scale, the electrons would be like a baseball stadium, and the atom would be like a peanut shell, and there's all that space in between those. It's like a field. It's a field. You take up space. You are in a state of expression, but you have the ability to think. You have the mind to think and direct. You have the emotions to fire up the energy, to reverberate, to resonate. And you have the awareness to come from a deeper place when we're present. And instead of meditating for an hour, we can cultivate it right now. And with 5 minutes left, we're going to do that again. Please just grab your shares. You're welcome, DJ, our sponsor, Gallivanting Like a Royal. Juanita, welcome all the way from South Africa. And I love the nature that you shared with the rock up on the mountain and the sun coming through. I got these lantern flies all over me. All right, let's do this. Let me grab our sponsor. Let's give her a shout out here. With the time that we have left, I just want to open it up for your expressions, your shares. I want to share this open space with you again. We're going to pause and breathe, and I want to invite you to be here next week when we do our first broadcast on September 11th, and the first momentous broadcast where I'll have my own channel on Roku, and Amazon Fire TV will follow that. You'll be able to search for Power of Pure Presence on Roku. How about that? So I appreciate you being a part of this mission. I appreciate you sharing it. I appreciate you recognizing the subtlety of this, because if you blink, you miss it, because your thoughts can come in and judge it and say, I know it, I got that, check. But it's not a question of logic. It's content, then it's no content. It's letting all of life in. It's the joy of just being in the pure bliss of the moment, the joy of the moment. And yes, cultivating a vision, cultivating that vision of enthusiasm. The vision adds enthusiasm. It adds, Eckhart Tolle calls it structural tension. In other words, living in the present moment. Power of pure presence is joy in the experience of life as it unfolds, being aware of, and then maybe adding some vision and some enthusiasm and theos, God within us, God within us, God within me, God within you, God lurking in the subtle place that can only be unlocked when you're fully present in the moment, out of the chatter of the mind. It never stops. My head won't stop thinking, won't stop. Pause and breathe and enjoy life. Pause and breathe for me now. I'm going to throw this away. I did good. The technology held out. Amen. Thank God for that. We were able to do this broadcast on 2 bars, my friends, 2 cell bars in the middle of a field next to a 100-acre sunflower farm. I'm going to go back in there. Don't just go through the logic of this. I want you to embrace this, embody this, connect to the deepest part of yourself. My umbrella's blowing away. Because when you come from your core, you're in alignment with yourself, you're in alignment with the divine, and it's perfect. 2 minutes. We shall stand. The sunflowers are right through that field. And here's the people coming in to experience Dalton Farms. Spaciousness. Create spaciousness in your life, clean canvas, open fields, wide open ocean, expansion, liberation, freedom. You're free in this moment. You can live life fully now. There's no moment in the future that's better than right now. There's no moment more valuable, I should say, than right now. There are moments that you're going to validate, but there's no more moment more valuable than right now. God bless everyone. I love you much. I'm so glad you were here. This will get up on the podcast. It'll be on YouTube, Facebook, playback, and I'll have the bonus footage for you later today. You're all amazing. Live life fully right now. Have a beautiful, beautiful day.